Welcome to Our Life. Today on Our Life, we'll be removing the mask for the first time with teens. The goal to this show is to get a better understanding of our teenagers and to communicate with them on a better level, but still be parents. So let me give you a removing the mask facts first on our first segment, which is on teen pregnancy. In the United States, we have the highest teen pregnancy rate. Also, if you didn't know, when teen mothers have their first child, normally, per statistics, 24 months later, they have their second baby as a teenager. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, I'll have my first guest with me, and she's going to remove her mask for the first time on teen pregnancy when we return. We're back now, and I'm here with my guest, Kayana. Is it? Yeah. Oh, I pronounced her name right. I'm so proud of myself. How are you today?
I'm fine.
Thank you for being here. Are you nervous?
Yes.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. So you're here with us, and we're going to remove the mask today on teen pregnancy. So let's just jump right into it, because that's normally what I like to do. So what was the first thing that came to your mind when you confirmed that you were pregnant at the age of 16, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What's the first thing that came to your mind?
I was scared. I was thinking, like, what would everybody think? And then, like, how would I tell my parents that I was pregnant?
At 16?
At 16.
At 16. Well, I don't think this is something I asked you. But did you plan
No, ma'am.
this?
No, ma'am.
So I'm going to throw some stuff out there versus what you've already seen. So I know in school they teach sex ed, right? They still do that, right? Or no?
No.
They don't do that anymore in school.
Not the school I go to.
So did your parents have those talks with you? And it's still, I guess I hate to say fear, but instill some fear in you and say, you better not.
Somewhat. I would say that, like, kind of. Not really, but yeah. Like, my dad mostly, he talks to me about, like, just like what guys want, and like he knows. So yeah, I would say so. But my mom, like, we really don't talk about stuff like that. Kind of. Yeah, we really don't talk about stuff like that.
Were you, I know you said that you were concerned about what people were going to think. So were you more concerned about just like your peers or really your family and what they were going to think about you?
My family.
Your family.
That's it.
What were some things that you thought about the most while being pregnant at that age?
About my life, like, because I had other things planned for me. Like, I didn't plan on having a baby, so I had like another route that I was gonna go, like with school and a career. Yeah.
And now he's 3 months.
Yes, ma'am.
And I got to see him today. Gorgeous. He is beautiful. He's beautiful. 3 months later, what are your concerns? Because you're 17 now.
Yes, ma'am.
And to me, someone your age or younger should never have to, that shouldn't be in your plan, period, to me.
Yes, ma'am.
So that brings, I would think, a lot of concerns. Because even an adult being pregnant and expecting, we have concerns. So as a young person like you, what were your concerns now that he's 3 months now?
Well, like, I would say, like, being a good parent and, like, having a career where I can provide for both of us. And, yeah, just worrying about him and, like, making sure he's healthy. And that's it.
And you still are in school, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So what are your plans for once you graduate?
I'm going to go to a community college for 2 years, and then I'm going to transfer over into a nursing school to become an NP. First, I'm gonna become a registered nurse, and then I'm gonna go to become an NP, a nurse practitioner.
Okay, I know somebody that's a nurse practitioner, and my niece is an RN.
That's good.
Yeah, so that's definitely a good feel. As a single mother, what advice would you give another teenager that's considering or is pregnant?
To embrace your pregnancy. Don't be depressed and all that stuff, because sometimes it take a toll on a baby and you.
Mm-hmm.
And to just, I mean, like, it's happened. It's nothing you can do about it. You just gonna have to live with it. And just because you have a baby, that means, like, it don't stop you from doing what you have to do. It just makes it harder, but you can still succeed in life. So that's what I would tell a teen that's pregnant or thinking about being pregnant.
What would you do different?
About my pregnancy?
Yeah.
Or like
Would you
before
have done? Would you do something different versus the decision? I mean, because it wasn't planned, as
No,
you
no,
told
no.
me. So it just happened.
Yes.
So I mean, would you have done something different? And when I say, I guess what I'm saying, when I mean if you would have done something different, meaning would you have not had sex? That's what I'm saying. To just be blunt with it. That's what I'm saying. Would you have changed that, or would you have taken better precautions? What do you think when you looking back, would you do differently, if anything?
Like before he was conceived, right?
Yeah.
First, I would have not have sex. But I also want to say that I kind of don't regret like doing what I did, because I love my baby.
And he's adorable.
Yeah, so like when I think, like, sometimes I still think about stuff like that. Like I would think, like, what if I didn't do this, then he wouldn't be here, and then like stuff like that. And it just makes me sad, but I'm kind of happy that he is here, because he's like my best friend and I just love him so much.
And he's here for a reason.
Yeah, and he motivates me to do like more, like, because at first I was kind of lazy. But I still went to school, but like I'm gonna be honest, I was lazy, like, but he motivates me, like he makes me wanna be something. So yeah, I'm kind of glad he's here.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Yes, ma'am.
So, do you ever see yourself reaching out to other teen mothers and talking to them
Yeah.
about things
Yes,
they
ma'am.
they go through and dealing with individuals,
Yes, ma'am.
and try to look at it in a different way?
Yeah, because people judge you. Like, people judge you all the time. Even your family judge you, but you just have to prove them wrong, and like, don't listen to what they say, because it's already happened. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. So don't make yourself sad or depressed because of what somebody else thinks, because nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. So, and I mean, like, it happens.
And do you have that strong family support that you
Yes.
probably thought in the beginning you didn't think you was gonna have that?
No, but I most definitely have like a lot of family support.
That's good. Well,
Thank
I
you.
want to tell you thank you for coming, because I know you're nervous.
Yes, just a little.
But thank you for coming and sit with me to talk about teen pregnancy, because it's an issue. We talk about what we don't talk about. We sugarcoat it. You're still in school. Continue to stay in school. Continue to make a future for you and your son. I know at one point you did tell me, the father is not around.
No, not technically. Not really. Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, I feel like it's for the best that he's not. I mean, everybody should have their father in their life, but my situation, I feel like it's for the best, because my family and like his family wouldn't, and my dad, he's a little crazy.
Okay. Wait a minute. Let me see, how can I say this? Don't you think one time or another that he needs to be somewhere in your son's life? Forget the family stuff.
Yeah.
Forget put the mama, daddy, grandparents. Throw that to the wind. Seriously. Don't you think he needs to be somewhere?
Yes,
And
I honestly do, but like if he's not trying, then I don't know. Like you gotta want to be in your child's life. It's just not.
Okay.
You can't force nobody.
Exactly. So I got you now. I thought it was because of the.
I mean that too, but
Yeah, but that is true. You have to want to be
Yeah.
in your child's life. So
he's not trying hard enough. So
hopefully that will change. Because you have a very beautiful 3-month-old that looks like he's about 6 months.
yeah, he's big.
But
He's big.
he's beautiful. But thank you so much for coming and talking to me.
Yes. ma'am.
Continue to go to school. Continue to pursue that RN and then nurse practitioner license as well. Don't stop. Because like you said, he motivates you. And that's all that's important.
Yes. ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
When we be right back, I have a special guest that I hope that has made it to the station. And we will be talking with him, and then we will turn around and we'll kick it back to our teens with peer pressure. So we'll be right back. Okay, everybody, we're back. So I'm switching up the show a little bit. Yes, it's on teen pregnancy and peer pressure, but we're going to switch it up just a little bit because that's how I like to do stuff from time to time. I have a special guest here with me today. I've been knowing him, I think, for about 8 years. And he graced my presence 8 years ago when he did his first film. I think he was in his 20s. I don't know how old he is now. But I want you guys to help me welcome Mr. Michael Sterling, one of the youngest film producers we have here that I know of in Houston, Texas. So please help me welcome my friend, Mr. Sterling, to the show. I know you ain't. Are you nervous too?
I'm waiting on the
Ooh,
questions.
I need my staff to give me some people that ain't nervous over here. How are you?
I'm all right.
It's been 8 long years. Your first movie was Behind the Pole. We got teenagers in here, so we're not gonna discuss what that movie was about. We're gonna move on. But how old were you when you did that one?
I
That
don't
was your
know.
first one?
That was a long time ago.
That was not long. That was 8 years ago. You was what, in your 20s? How old are you now?
I don't know. Now I don't know.
You was in your 20s, right?
Yeah,
Okay, we're gonna go with that. What
long time ago.
when did you exactly start? Because I think you were doing something before Behind the Pole. So when did you exactly start doing
I was
producing
doing,
movies?
I was doing videos first.
Okay.
I started doing videos first, and then I graduated to doing movies because my videos was kind of looking like movies, and that was just something I always wanted to do.
Since you've been in this business for a very long time, what are some of the pros and cons of this business that you would say? And be honest.
It's really just being, you got the good things of being independent and the bad things of being independent. When you're independent, you really suffer that loss, and when you're independent, you suffer that loss, and when you do good, you really do good. You see all that.
Yeah.
Money
And everything.
Money and everything, but it's more than just the money, just the smile on people's faces and knowing you don't really help people because it's hard in Texas or really the South alone because we don't have like a lot of movie directors and producers, and you got to usually go to LA, stand in these long lines, the cast and stuff like that. So when you feel like you're bringing it home, that kind of like put a smile on your face.
And I'm gonna go back to Behind the Pole. That was your first movie you did.
That was my first.
And he actually had not only Houston-owned regular people, but he had Cuba Gooding Jr., Omar Gooding was in that movie. Sherry, what's Sherry's last name?
Sherry Johnson.
From Family Matters was in that movie as well. So to be your first movie, you pulled some major names household names that people knew.
Right.
So that is very good. But you've stepped it up a whole bar. 2 years now? Is it 2 years? Yeah, it's been 2 years since. Is it 2 years since Harvey?
Little over a year.
Yeah, a little
It was
over a year.
August. Yeah.
Since we were hit with Hurricane Harvey.
Yeah.
So you decided to do a movie on Hurricane Harvey. What made you decide to do that?
I was in the middle of shooting a movie in Austin, and I was watching the news, and then one of my friends from San Antonio called. They like, man, you got to write a movie on Harvey. And so why some of my people had got displaced because some of them was from Houston, but we was shooting in Austin, and some of them had to go back. Some of them got stuck. This was during the hurricane. I was just frustrated, so I was watching the news and people calling me. So I just started writing I just started writing stories and stuff like that from the stuff I was hearing, and I probably wrote that movie. I probably had it done before the storm was over with, because I had that much time to just sit there and just write, and that's how I came up with that movie.
So when you started to film, and you had regular people from right here in the city of Houston.
Right.
How hard was that? Because most of those people lost everything, and
Yeah.
still now are trying to rebuild. So how hard was that for them to relive that?
Well, it wasn't really hard because some of them wanted those stories told. We got a lot of help from the mayor, a lot of people. Sheila Jackson Lee. It was a lot of people helped us with different stuff. I think the hardest part of doing that movie is when the family of 6 that died in the van reached out to me, and the brother was like, "Man, is there some kind of way you can write us into the story?"
Oh wow.
And so when I done it, it was I had to sit down with him, and when I was hearing the story, it was I was like, "Dang, this is crazy." But then when the actual brother who was in the van, the only survivor, when I heard his story, that's when it kind of changed, and it was like, how can I really make him reenact this? And he's not.
And not.
Yeah, so that was kind of hard because to really touch on those emotions like that, and then they still had like stuff that was left on the voicemail from when it was actually happening, and you could hear the people.
Wow.
So it was like that was like one of the times on set where everybody was like, it was just quiet, like how it is in here right now. It was like quiet. So that was one of the most touching things I think in the movie.
Wow. When does the movie come out? Tell us about that.
Well, we did a screening, probably about 3 weeks ago. And we in the distribution stages right now, and a lot of people have been reaching out to us. We've been getting a lot of press. We've been in Forbes magazine,
Yes, you are.
CNN.
I forgot to say that.
We've been all over Fox. So a lot of people, we've been up for a lot of awards and stuff like that, like right now. So it's like now that we in the distribution stages, we got to kind of like hold back on how we screen it now.
Oh, the release of it.
Yeah, because they like to be in control of that because they know how they want to market it or whatnot.
So what are you looking at? Hopefully before the end of this year.
Oh yeah, we already got stuff in the place. We already got stuff. The Weather Channel reached out to us, stuff like this. So we already got things in place.
Okay. So what's next on the horizon? Because you're in the midst of making something right now, aren't you?
Yeah. So I actually got a movie that I wrote right before Harvey called Gentrification.
Is that something we could talk about in here? I got an audience full of teens. If we can't talk, what is that movie about? Do you need to whisper? What?
No, I mean, so you know how it is when you riding through your neighborhood and
Okay.
your grandma's house, been on that block for the longest. And,
Okay.
you got some people to move next door, walking these big dogs, calling the police on you and stuff like that. And they coming through selling. I mean, buying your house out $100,000 or whatever, and resell it for $1 million or whatever.
Okay.
So it's basically like learning the game and holding on to your property. You know what I'm saying? So, but I made a whole movie on it.
Okay.
Because that stuff, they been putting it in movies. We wasn't paying attention. Like they was doing it in Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
Remember he took them by the sign. Y'all killing, shooting, and stuff like that, running the property value down. They coming in. So I basically just made a whole movie on it.
Okay.
And going a little deeper with it.
He has a motto, you guys. Team no sleep. And he does not sleep. What would you say, because I have teens in here, what would you say to these teens about their goals and their dreams. And, you know, some people, I'm going to use myself as an example. I told my dad when I was a teenager I wanted to be a singer. I can't sing to save my life. I can sing in a choir with a whole group of people, but I can't sing to save my life. So my daddy told me, you need to get a job, a real job. And even when I started this years ago, people would laugh at me when I say I want to have my own TV show, and I had my own TV show and all that. What would you say to these teens that are here today and watching? Someone like you started off young in this business and you've molded it to the way you want to do it, and you just doing your thing.
Right.
And you're not letting nobody stop you, no matter what.
I think you really just answered that for him. Just don't let nobody stop you, because I will say I did leave something out, because when you said that, it was a lot of people did try to stop us doing Harvey.
Really?
Yeah, like other film directors and stuff like that, they felt like we shouldn't be doing it, or we should let Hollywood come in and do it.
Because they felt you weren't on a high enough scale
Well,
like Hollywood?
Well, what it was I ain't gonna say on a high enough scale. It's just I haven't started dealing with some of them yet, where I am now. But I guess they felt like they may have been in the business longer than me, and they should be the ones doing it and stuff like that or whatnot. But I'm the type, I just jump out there and just do it. So like I got a lot of racist stuff all on my comments page.
Oh, wow.
But I kept going though. You know, so it was people trying to stop it. It was a bunch of stuff that was going on. But the thing was, like, why you trying to stop it? Like, that's our story. Because once them cameras leave, that's it.
Yeah.
And then when them cameras leave, is that funding gonna get hard to get, because you know it ain't the sin of intention no more. So.
And that's how it is now. They still talk about how Houston struggles to rebuild with Harvey, but you don't see all the cameras we had out here when we were underwater.
Yeah.
You don't see that. You don't see, they don't go by the houses no more. When trash is still sitting outside of people's houses, you don't see that. So that is very true. I want to say to you, thank you so very much. Don't make it 8 years again before you come back. How about, I will make that deal. But thank you for coming. I'm looking for my invite to come to the movie.
I got you.
Where I don't have to work or anything. I can just show up.
Nah, you good. You good. Unless you want to, you want to do interviews.
No, I don't want to do interviews. But thank you so very much for coming out. Keep us informed when the movie is released and what you have coming up next, and we'll go from there. When we'll be right back, we're going to bring it back to my teens, and we're going to be going into our peer pressure segment. We'll have Queen the Queen with me when we return, so stay right there. We're back, everybody, and we have jumped back in with our teens after visiting with Mr. Sterling, and we're back now with my next segment, and that's Queen to Queen, and hopefully I don't tear up their names, but this is Miss Bree Foreman. Bree Foreman.
Stevens.
And Miss
Clark Foreman.
Clark. Yeah, I'm going to let them say that name. I was trying to get it, but it didn't work out that way. So these young ladies here with us have an organization that specializes with teens. I'm just super excited to talk to them, because you don't normally see some young women to specialize and jump in with teenagers and not be afraid of that. So please help me welcome Miss Bree and Clark to the show. Tell me, what made you guys, well, first of all, can you tell me your ages? Or are you going to be scared like Michael?
Oh, no, we don't care. No, I'm 25.
And I'm 24.
You are both still in your 20s.
Yep.
What made you guys decide to start mentoring?
Well, just to put it out there, we launched back in 2014. It was my sister and I. She can't be here due to being off at school. Hey, Chan. She goes to UNT, but we were actually teenagers at the time when we started. I was 19, she was 17, and that was when we realized how fortunate we were to have one another as sisters, because the relationship we have, we were best friends. And it wasn't just a sister. I mean, we weren't just sisters where it was like, okay, you know that's my sister, I got your back or whatever. So we realized that there was a vital need for positive leadership in the lives of teenagers. And so we was just in the living room. We was like, let's start this organization. And then she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And so I was in the restroom one day while I was praying about it. I was like, God, I need a name. And it dawned on me, boom, Queen to Queen. And I was like, Ma, I got the perfect name. It's going to be Queen to Queen. And so, ever since then, we hosted in-home sessions. 2016, met Brienne. Since then, it's just been bananas, amazing. And we just launched our memberships. Where
Okay, you jumping.
Oh, I'm
Press
sorry.
pause.
I'm pressing pause. I'm so excited. I'm sorry.
Press pause. She done covered all my questions.
No, I
I don't even. Do I have anything else to ask you? Because you done covered all
did. I'm sorry.
Okay, so let's back
Let's
up.
back up. I'm sorry.
How important, especially in this day and time, would you say it is for a young girl to have a role model?
Extremely.
Because I got parents in the audience. Parents don't, I'm not hating on y'all. I'm not hating on y'all. But in this day and time, parents to me are not like my parents. Parents to me sometimes in this day and time want to be their friend and not the real parent. And some parents feel I'm doing this and you do this in front of your child. And then when your child does it, then you are trying to chastise them, or in some parents' mind, oh, it's cool, it's okay. As long as she doing it at home with me, so in this day and time, how important?
Extremely, especially in the day and age we live in with social media. Like you asked her, how did you get into mentoring? I never thought I would be mentoring teens. When I met Clark, I was mentoring people my age, women my age, and but she kept telling me how passionate she was about teenagers, and because I business advised, I started to help her grow the business, and I realized how much of a necessity it really is. Again, with the day and age we are in, so with social media, the comparison, that I want to do this, I want to do that. A lot of teenage girls specifically, they want to grow up faster than what they have to because it's popular. That's what. And when I was growing up, I didn't have a mentor. I was actually extremely sneaky because I felt like I couldn't talk to my mom.
Girl, you like me.
I was extremely sneaky because I felt like I couldn't talk to her.
Get in trouble.
Yeah, and at one point she seemed really relatable, and after a while, because she wanted to be my friend, and then she realized, okay, I gotta go into mama mode, and she completely switched up on me my entire high school. So I became really sneaky, but there were it was a woman who was my 7th grade teacher who I felt like I could talk to, like Clark said, have that big sister. And so I just think it's important because I would tell her things and she would give me positive advice, and she would just, at that time I didn't know it was a mentor, but she was just someone who I looked up to, and she just taught me just different things. So I think it's a necessity because we don't have that right now. Social media is kind of raising and influence a lot of teen girls.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
In the wrong way,
Yeah.
half of the time. So tell me, because you done ran through everything.
It's okay. They probably don't remember.
So tell me about Queen to Queen.
Well, I promise I will just answer the question. So Queen to Queen is a teen membership program for teen girls, 13 to 19, where our mission is to build a new generation of teen girls who are committed to becoming their best self, to live their best life and reign like they mean it as queens. So one thing I like to say is, of course, that we are providing an atmosphere of sisterhood where girls are able to gain that big sister that they may not have biologically, or they do have that biologically, just don't have that relationship. And so we're challenging them to become their best self, but also loving them where they are. And again, just really challenging them to be their best self. So
yeah, we always say that we're not really there to fix them. We're just there to give them the tools and allow them to fix themselves. That's something that one of our coaches, Stacy, actually always tells our girls. So that's pretty much what we do. We give them the tools so they can become their best self.
What would you say to a young lady that has a lot of negative in her life? Because in this day and time, like you talked about social media, a lot of girls, they might know what they want to do. At one point, they will feel comfortable in their self and their body as their bodies are growing and stuff. And then they meet up. If it's social media, you need to have bigger lips, you need to have bigger this, bigger that. Are you too big in size? Or do you too lit? All this foolishness. And then some kids go through a lot of stuff at home. So what do you say when they have a lot of negative going on and don't seem like they have anything good or positive in their life?
I'll let you go first.
Well, the crazy thing about it is because I grew up receiving body shaming because I've always been heavier than my siblings. And a lot of times you don't realize you're in a toxic environment until you see outside of that environment. So if anything, I would say surround yourself with people who actually affirm you as a person, because sometimes they don't know that that's what's going on. When my father straight up told me if I don't lose 30, or in order to look good in all my clothes, I need to lose 30 pounds as a teenager.
Your father told you that?
My father. And as a teenager, I felt like I had to put my worth and my beauty in the hands of a man. So I'm not thinking anything other than that, if I'm making any sense. So as a teenager, in my mind, especially when you receive that from somebody that close, you start to try to line yourself up with those type of standards. So, and I didn't know that I was more than that, or that my body is not connected with my worth until God blessed me with more friends who actually told me, you actually look nice. You're beautiful. Your beauty is not limited to what you look like on the outside. So I would just say, and then it also has to take a step of acknowledging that you're in a negative space before you can make change. So, I mean, if you're watching, girl, we got your back. So just come over here. We'll take care of you. But
Well,
You want to add to that?
Well, yeah, I basically agree. Because growing up, I was really I went through a lot of depression growing up as a teenage girl, and I feel like a lot of girls, when I think negative space, I think that like people beating you down, not affirming you. So sometimes it can depress you, and you know the stats, but right now suicide, the stats are high, really high, high as
in teenage life.
yeah, in
'Cause
teenagers.
we just had the 9-year-old that
Yeah.
took her life.
Yeah, and so depression, and I had those thoughts in my head, and a lot of times you feel like it will never get better. And I always tell people now, when I talk to people who are going through that, I tell them, after high school, you probably won't even see these kids again. You probably won't even be in the same space again. Yeah. Are you friends with people? Yeah.
You won't.
So, and I tell them, just get through it, because God has something for you. If you are here and you woke up, it's something else. So just keep going. And once you get through high school, it's going to be probably
a wrap.
take off.
It's
Yeah.
a wrap. Well, we're going to be right back because we're going to be here still with Bree. Oh. And Kay.
There you go.
We're going to be right back, but we're going to have two of the young ladies from Queen to Queen with us talking about their walk through this program as well. So we'll be right back.
Hello, hello, hello. I just stopped by to remind you of how fabulous you are, how wonderful you are, how God made you to do wonderful and miraculous things in the world.
And we're back. I still have my lovely ladies from Queen to Queen, and now we've added on two of the ladies that are in the program, Miss Trinity and Miss Deja. Oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing good right now. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. And you guys, tell me your ages.
I'm 15.
And I'm 16.
15 and 16. I think I remember what I did and how, I don't even remember if I know that age. But can you guys tell me, both of you or one of you can tell me, how's the program been a help to you?
Well, you want to go first?
You got it.
Okay. So like, before Queen to Queen, I wasn't really like in a major life crisis or anything. It's just, I was struggling like to know my worth. Like I didn't treat myself the way I should be treated. Like I kind of like changed myself for other people to be accepted. But like it's helped me become more confident and just better at expressing like my actual self and not trying to be someone who I'm not.
Okay. What about you?
Before I came to Queen to Queen, I was kind of like Trinity said, dealing with my self-worth, and then also a little bit with my self-esteem, and also just not worrying about what the world has to say, like focusing on me and how I portray myself. So
How important would you say is to have a mentor as a teen?
Having a mentor is really important because even though you have your parents to talk to, I feel like they just give you a different point of view. And so, like, it's good to have multiple points of view. And then at the same time, they're younger, so they understand more, like, this day and age. So, like, what's actually going on at the moment. And so it's just, like, easier to talk to them. And then it, like, just helps you, like, with the things you're going through.
So, I'm going to ask this question. Y'all mamas in the audience. So, have y'all ever went home? You know, your mom says one thing, your dad says one thing. Then you run it by your mentor, probably one of these, right? And they say something else. So have y'all ever gone home and said, well, mama, Bree say so and such, and have y'all done that before?
well, not really, because most of the time, my mom, she always has my best interest too, and they do too. So it's kind of like, at the end of the day, they're both trying to like help me see what's the right thing. So it's been times they're both like, no, Deja, you're you're in the wrong. And so really, both of them, you can tell how like both of them, they try to like help at the same time. So that's really good.
Yeah, like, off of what she said, that most of the time they tell me like the same thing. So it's not like I have a contradiction, like, what do I do? So it's just nice and smooth.
So,
Nice and smooth.
yeah, I mean, because they just like real cool, like it's just nice and smooth. So, do you ever disagree? You can't tell me you don't. So you better not say, no, we don't do that. Do you ever disagree with advice that you get from your mentee, your mentor, or your parents? You can't tell me you don't. You better not.
It's not that we disagree, it's just that I don't want to agree with it.
And why do you feel as a 15-year-old that you should not agree? Because to me, kids today, they think they know everything. You can't tell them nothing. They got the answer to every problem there is. So why wouldn't you want to agree to it when you know probably they're giving you the right answer?
Because people just want to do what they want to do sometimes.
Oh,
But that's not the way that you should go.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, oh. Would you like to help her out? I don't know, because
I do disagree sometimes, and sometimes I feel like, not necessarily that they haven't been through it, but I'm just like, y'all don't go through, like, y'all are not in the exact predicament I'm in, so I feel like that's why we see differently on the situation.
give me an example. Give me a quick example of this this predicament. As a 16, right?
Yeah.
As a 16-year-old, please give me an example. Enlighten us with this predicament that you be in that we. I need to know.
Okay, so let's say, for example, you want to go out with your friends, and maybe they're just like, well, it's not a good night to go out, or just per se, like, that's not a good place, but you're just like, everyone else goes, or not like just because everyone else does it, but just like, well, it's safe. Like, I know what you heard about it, but this is what our generation, I guess, has to, like, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as you may see it or think it is.
Okay. Y'all want to contribute to anything before I close out this segment?
Well, I was gonna say, even with that, because that's happened before, actually recently, where it was a teenager. He really wanted to go to Main Event with his friends. You know, me and Clark, we mentor teens, and she was saying, well, I don't want to go sit with him and his friends, but he don't need to go by himself.
Yeah.
And so I guess the difference is, because we're a little bit younger in age, we actually volunteered and said, well, we'll go watch him. So it's times like that where their parents are like, no, that's not safe. And I guess as the mentors, as the the girls that are a little bit closer in age, well, we'll go to the movies with them, we'll hang out with them, we'll make sure that everything's safe. We're not going to let them do anything they have no business doing, but we'll do, I guess, sometimes what the parents probably don't want to do. Like, I don't want to sit there with them, I don't want to do
And
that.
to be honest, kind of piggybacking off of what you said, as far as like saying this generation think they know everything, I think we need to give them a bit more credit. because they are very knowledgeable and a lot of things that's going on, because although that I may be a mentor, I don't know everything, and there are some things that I learned from them. And so I think, and which is fine, we say, well, I've been here longer than you. My parents say it all the time. I've been on this earth longer than you. You've been on here hot 24 years, yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, which is okay. Like, yes, you have more wisdom.
I'm with your mama on that.
Yes, you have more wisdom, but things are a little different in a sense to where they are really learning. These teenagers aren't dumb. And one thing I love about the teenagers too is they just want to be heard. And a lot of times we shut them down because they're teenagers. So
We listen to them.
we listen to them, and so I'll receive their perspective. There may be some things we don't agree on, but I mean, I give it to y'all. Y'all know what y'all talking about sometimes.
So yeah, sometimes.
But
With that being said, we're going to close out this segment. I'm going to go into my last segment. And that segment is a panel of young ladies that will be discussing with me more deeply into peer pressure and things that they had to deal with. And with peer pressure, just to give you a quick removing the mask fact, peer pressure will sometimes lead teens to skipping school, drugs, drinking, sex, all kind of anything, you name it, if their peers bring them through that journey of peer pressure. So I'm going to thank you ladies for being here with me. We're going to move on after a quick break into our last segment, and we'll be sitting with a group of teenagers and we'll go into a little deeper on peer pressure. So we'll be right back.
Welcome to class.
And we're back in my last segment, and I have three lovely ladies here with me, and we're going to go a little deeper into peer pressure before we close out this show. So I'm going to have each of them introduce themselves and tell us your ages.
Hi, I'm Sherelle. I'm 18 years old.
I'm Kaylin, I'm 15.
I'm also Kaylin, and I'm 16.
So how are you guys today?
I'm doing really good.
You doing good? You good? Y'all nervous?
A little bit.
Not too much.
There we go. So Kaylin,
Which one?
yeah, that's the problem. Because you are Kaylin. Oh, it's for you then. It's you. You know what? When I did you guys questions, I didn't determine the Kaylins on that. So Kaylin, this is for you. Can you tell us what type of, if any form of peer pressure that you've ever experienced?
Okay, so I've never really experienced peer pressure that was negative towards me, like to treat other people bad or do bad things, but it was more like conflicting with my schedule in school. So, for example, like my friends would want to hang out, but I would always like choose to do my homework and studies because I think that's more important. But then like when I have free time, I make sure I go and spend time with them just to keep the relationships good and healthy.
So when they wanted you to hang out with them and you refused to, was this pretty much every time or just every so often?
Every so often.
So the times that you would refuse, did you get some lashback on that from them? Or they were really good, really true friends?
They're true friends because they understand, because we've been friends for like years, and so it's always been like this.
Okay. So for the other Kaylin, tell us about some issues you had dealing with peer pressure and what form, if any.
I feel like there's different levels to it. There's like indirect and direct peer pressure.
Yeah.
And I've had both. Like earlier this week, actually, this guy asked me if he wanted, like he was selling drugs, and he was like, would you like some? And I was like, no thank you. And there's the indirect kind where it's like, oh, I have to look a certain way when I come to school.
Yeah.
I have to know certain songs, stuff like that. So,
How does that make you feel?
um,
Or how do you deal with it?
try not to get too caught up in it. Try to just know myself and my values and stuff like that. Like, what would I do? Like, what's the best choice here?
Okay. Now, Sherelle, you told me about You were called a snitch one time.
Yes, ma'am.
So how did that make you feel being called a snitch? I don't know if I've been called a snitch. How did that make you feel?
It was really tough because it was a week straight, and it was like a whole hour right before I left from school. So it was like every time I walked in the hallway, I would hear someone say to me, "Oh, snitch," and it was downgrading for me because it was people that I was like I want to be friends with, and they were in the cool group, and so it was really hard. And it was like, do I really want to be friends with them? And it was really downgrading to my self-esteem and who I am as a person.
Would you have done anything differently?
Oh no. I learned because in that that moment of the peer pressure of not telling or telling the person, it was, am I gonna do what's right, or am I going to just let her stay in the lie and just go with everybody else, be cool, be in the cool group? But I was like, no, this is who I'm gonna be, and I'm making a choice now.
Okay. It seems like all three of you deal with peer pressure fairly well. Am I right to say that? Has it been times where you felt you could not tell your parents?
Oh yeah. I actually just told my mom about the incident in middle
Really?
school this week. Yeah.
Why you told her? Because you knew you were going to be here now?
Well, because for me, I haven't had a whole lot of incidents with peer pressure. I mean, it wasn't like, if it was very indirect. And that moment, that one story in particular of peer pressure was like, oh wow, I didn't even think about it until now. So
Oh, wow. Explain to us why, and for you guys also, do you think, has there been times where you don't want to reveal anything to your parents?
Yes, there has. Because it's just, you don't want to get in trouble. You feel like they wouldn't understand. Because, they lived way back then.
Watch it now. Watch it.
Way back then.
times are different.
Times are different. So, yeah, you feel like they don't understand and you don't want to get in trouble, so you don't tell them.
Explain to, do you have,
Okay.
you tell you?
Most of the times I feel like I can just talk to my parents about anything because we're like really close. And especially because I'm the only child, so I talk to them about anything.
Okay. Explain to us, why do you think it's important to be in a cool group?
Social media really puts that out there. It's I guess in a sense, when I was in middle school and when that was a huge thing about being in the cool group, it was being in the cool group that would show your worth, how much you're worth it in the world and who all knew you. So that was really, I think.
But even before social media existed, that still was I don't know, you guys are young, so that still was a big thing to be in the cool group, even before social media existed. You don't think so?
I feel like social media really amplifies it, though.
Really?
People put the best parts of their lives on social media.
Yeah, and the worst part they leave off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a highlight reel.
So, what would you guys say to another teen that's dealing with peer pressure and don't necessarily know how to deal with that? Because we talked with Queen about the 9-year-old that just actually committed suicide because she was being bullied, and she's 9 years old. That shouldn't even be in your. You shouldn't even be concerned with it. You should be playing with Barbie dolls and calling it a day. So, what would you say to other little kids, or at this point, little kids that are dealing with that, and teenagers?
Somebody will go.
I would say just think about like the things that make you happy in life, because there's more good things than bad things, and like you should just focus on those and like don't listen to other people.
I feel like we should tell them that it's going to get better, right? You got a long life ahead of you.
Yeah.
Just trust in yourself and keep going. So,
Yeah. Definitely, along with what they were saying, was to really just, it's better in a sense because peer pressure is from like a lot of friends or like from just a few friends. It's better to have a few good friends than a lot of bad friends. So surround yourself with good people that truly know you and love you as a person, as well as love yourself and know your own worth. And just remind yourself that, you know what, you have your opinions, but my opinion about myself is more important.
Okay. That was some good advice you guys gave. So I want to thank you guys for being here with me today. In my last segment of peer pressure, we didn't go deep, but I'm going to have you guys back so we can go a little deeper. But thank you again for you guys coming. I want to say to my studio audience and my audience at home, thank you for participating and watching the show. If you have any questions about any of our guests, feel free to email us at ourlifetvshow@gmail.com. Stay tuned for our next show. That is on social media. That will be on social media. And again, until next time, always empower, encourage, and continue to remove your mask.